Hi, my name is John Stewart and welcome to another episode of Cello Chat. Today we're going to talk about left hand position. Let's start right from the beginning. So when playing the cello, we want to ensure a certain form with our left hand. So we're going to start off with a C. So if you can make a C like this, keeping your fingers curved, this is going to be your basic position in first position here. Okay? Now, if you place all four fingers in first position, you want to tilt your hand back slightly. I would beware of anything like this or too extreme like this, and keep your hand about like this. Alrighty? Now, as far as the placement of the fingers on the string, there's some debate on this, on how to go about teaching this. Some teachers will use tape on the first, the third, and the fourth finger. I choose not to use tape in my studio. What I do is, if I need to have some visual cues, I'll mark in with pencil lead, where the first, the third, and the fourth finger go, so that I have a visual cue. But one of the very first things that I do when teaching positions, in particular first position in hand placement, is to go right after the first finger. Everything else is built off the first finger, so it's very important. So one game that I play with my students is I'll have them find this B here. So we'll find the B and tune it up. And then we'll take our hand away completely and go back and find that B again. And you might do this about 6 or 7 times in a row. And if it's sharp, then you'll adjust it the next time around. Think of it a little bit like, like shooting free throws. Either the ball goes in the basket or the ball doesn't go into the basket. So let's say, for example, let's take an analogy. If I'm shooting free throws, I might say, okay, that ball was a little too far to the right. That ball was a little too far to the left, and that ball was right on the money. So what you want to do is just get used to finding that first finger and not really fishing for notes. Beware of fishing for notes like this. It really doesn't bring us anywhere. We really want to zero in on that note and get to the point where we can play it accurately from the very beginning. And so, you're just taking multiple shots at it until finally it's really in tune. Once your first finger is in tune, the other fingers are easier to find. Now, one common pitfall that I see with a lot of younger students is it's very natural for the human hand to want to do this. But when we play the cello, we really need an equal distance between the fingers, like this. So, you really want to ensure that there's an equal distance. So, one of the exercises that I will use for this is just to go between two notes. So, for example, do that for a while, then between 2 and 3, and between 3 and 4. And do that for a while until you feel that you're really, learning to have equal distance between them. You can start with some really interesting patterns, creative patterns. There's a lot of various patterns. Speaking of patterns, it's been my experience there are 3 basic patterns on the cello that you see over and over again. These 3 patterns are this. 0124, or I call it the minor pattern, and then, which is 0134, which I call the major pattern, and then, which is I call the extended pattern. Let's take a second to examine the extended pattern, okay? Now, what I want you to do is place all 4 fingers in first position and just jet that first finger back. Jet it back like this. Now I want you to notice how this knuckle, I don't see if you can see this very well, this knuckle right here opens up, okay? So you really want to get used to opening this knuckle up, actually these 2 knuckles, so you're doing something like this. I see some common failures where students are trying to keep this finger curved, and it makes it more difficult to have a truly open hand, right? So I find I've had some success teaching it this way, starting from the back end of it, right? And then once the student feels comfortable with that, then it's easier to do this. And along this pattern, let me show you something real quick. this finger here needs to revolve or rotate like this. It needs to rotate, right? If a student tries to keep this in the same position, it's very difficult. If they can rotate this finger, it's much easier to open this up. So those are a couple common pitfalls that I see, okay? So, one other with positions that's kind of important is the thumb. The thumb. Please don't grip with your thumb. In fact, if I feel like I'm gripping with my thumb and I'm getting tight, I'll play a pattern or two keeping my thumb off the neck, just to ensure that I don't need to grip with my thumb to get the note down. Right? So this really illustrates the point. You don't need to grip to get the note down. If you're ventilating or bringing this part of your arm up a little bit, then you can direct the weight into your fingers. Okay? Well, those are just a few short ideas, and I hope you've enjoyed them. Until next time, thank you for your time.